Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Roger H3, and today we're going to talk about how Overwatch competitive is rigged or a little broken right now. I'm sure a lot of you have probably been having issues with trying to rank up or climb through the ranks in Overwatch. Potentially you're stuck where you're at. And today I just want to talk about why that is and different thoughts I have on the current state of Overwatch 2 competitive. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe and drop a like if you enjoy the content. I appreciate all the support you guys give me, and let's go ahead and get on with the topic. So I did want to make this video last week, however, I decided to wait because I wanted to make sure I had enough hours on competitive currently to really understand how the system's working, understand how the matchmaking is, and really form my own opinion on the current situation and how everything feels. So as you can see on the screen, I have about 16 hours in the last 2 weeks on competitive, and this I believe is just on console. I probably have roughly 4 or 5 hours on PC, so I probably have around 20 hours total. As well as I have been playing pretty much every role. I've played less support than anything else, but I've been playing a lot of tank and DPS. I've had the opportunity to play in groups and stack with 4 or 5 people, as well as I've had the opportunity to queue individually. So I think I have a pretty good feel on how everything currently is working out. So the first part of the new competitive system that really needs covered are the placement games. In my opinion, for me personally, doing placements was a real pain, and they were very tilting, honestly. The reason placements were such a pain for me is because I personally am somebody who was high plat and low diamond at the end of last year. I ended pretty much high plat on everything. And when I first came into placements, it was pretty staggering when I would play one game and it would tell me that I was predicted to be low gold, which was something that kind of didn't make sense to me because I really wasn't ranked gold on anything for 3 or 4 seasons now. But after playing several placement games, both on PC and on console, I realized that these placements weren't something that really gave you a chance to actually earn a higher rank like Blizzard tried to say that they would. Back before the Season 9 patch notes were released, there was a blog where they talked briefly about the rank reset and how important the placements would be in your ranked experience in general. And honestly, when I read this, it made me super excited that a lot of us would have the opportunity to potentially place higher if we played better than expected. But realistically, that wasn't an option because they pulled everybody down, and the best that you could really do if you won every game was end up the same rank that you were, or maybe be 1 or 2 tiers above that, as if, say, you ended plat 1 at the end of last season. Maybe if you were lucky and won all 10 games, you could hit diamond 4. But in all reality, if you were ranked around gold, plat, or diamond, the odds were really not in your favor to really even reach the rank that you were in Season 8. And in my opinion, there are 2 main reasons for this. The first one is everyone's adjusting to the new gameplay changes. So a lot of people, especially at first, weren't really adjusted to the new DPS passive, the new health pulls, the way the tank gameplay needs to change, the way the DPS gameplay needs to change, how support gameplay needs to change, and really like the whole game in general has changed in some fashion. Now, the good part about this is obviously it changed for everybody. However, everybody learns at different speeds and different paces. So for some, especially those who might have played Overwatch hundreds of hours, these adjustments might not be so minor. They might be pretty major if you're so used to doing stuff a specific way. You know, 6 shots using this character against another hero will eliminate them, and now it doesn't. That really changes the way that you feel and play, and it takes time to get adjusted. But the second part here that makes this a little bit more lopsided in my opinion, and I think a lot of people, especially in the middle ranks, are experiencing this a lot, is the games are a lot more competitive, which I personally like because I'm playing a competitive game mode because I like competition. But the middle ranks, like specifically plat where I play, we see everybody from new players to people who were master role challengers last season. So plat has become just accumulation of pretty much everybody who was nearly the highest rank in the game to people who don't know how to play the game. And for me, this leaves a wide range of skill expression that can be extremely frustrating because you could be on a team with somebody who's brand new going against 2 master role challengers who might have been masters 2 or masters 1 last season and legitimately are very good at the game. or you could be completely rolling another team who has a bunch of people who might have legitimately been gold, and you have a few extremely high ranked people on your team who would essentially seem like they're Smurfs. But really, this is just the way the rank system is grouping everybody together. Now, granted, before Season 9, this could happen, and you could always have people who were Smurfs, or maybe they were on alt accounts and stuff like that. However, this situation is a little bit different in my opinion, and a lot of it's because they're just making it a lot more difficult to rank up, and it is taking a lot more games to rank up, and it's just taking a lot more time in general to rank up. Now, I personally have begun to start to navigate this a little bit better. Honestly, it is making my gameplay better, and I'm starting to get better as an Overwatch player in general. I'm starting to learn what characters I thrive with, what characters I need to lock in to really beat other characters regardless of what their role was last year. But for a lot of casual people, this is going to be really difficult for them to kind of figure out and really climb. Now, some of you might listen to this and sit here and go, well, Roger, you know, Flats is able to climb, J3 is able to climb, Emong's able to climb, Metro's able to climb. All these people are still in GM, so what are you talking about? Or you might be in a situation where you go, Roger, I've been able to climb. I don't know, is this just a skill issue? Are you bad at the game? Well, I'll be the first one to sit here and tell you that I am obviously not a perfect Overwatch player. I make mistakes like everybody else does, just like everybody does in every single rank. But this is beyond the fact of all of these very large content creators in the Overwatch space being able to climb, or a few people being able to climb. This is about the general population and what the current issues we're seeing actually are. Not to mention, in addition to this idea of being able to climb, all of these content creators have admitted at some point that they're actually struggling. There's a Flats video I would clip, but I don't believe I'm allowed to. I don't think it's Creative Commons right now. I really enjoy watching Flats, and he admitted that he was struggling to climb this season some. And I'll link that video down below in case you all want to go check it out. But he also provides a lot of examples of people who are losing a lot of percentage after a single loss in a game, which is insane because it makes it very difficult to climb if you're losing more percentage than what you're gaining. And as another example, who's somebody who's not a tank main and is a DPS main, Metro, I tuned into one of his streams and he was playing on his alt account. Granted, his main account is in GM. He was playing on his alt account. He was stuck in High Masters, I believe, and he was getting extremely frustrated because a lot of the people he was playing with, he felt like weren't able to really contribute to the team, and they had no idea what they were doing. He felt like he needed to make callouts for everything to even have a chance to potentially win the game. And towards the end of this game that I was watching, he even mentioned that he doesn't even want to play on his main account unless he has people to stack with, because it's just insane the way that the setup is right now. He feels like he's getting matched with people who are essentially incompetent or ranked where they should not be, and they don't know what's going on. As well as, I'm sure another portion of it is when you lose, like, you're losing so much percent, and it really hurts you in terms of trying to grind up the ranks and get to the next rank that you want to be at. And in his case, I'm sure it's champion. In a lot of these large YouTubers' cases, I'm sure it's champion. But for a lot of us who might not be as high, maybe it's diamond, maybe it's masters, and maybe for some that's even silver or gold. But it's just the principle of it has become extremely difficult to get there. And then alternatively, I want to address this as well because I know somebody's going to mention it. You're going to say, well, Roger, you just said that everybody's getting ranked lower. How are there people who are ranked higher than what they're supposed to be if everybody's getting lower? Well, there's actually a streamer who is in the Flats video that I'm going to tag below once again, who was unable to get past GM5 or 4 on his main account. He made an alt account, and within 10 games, he was able to get higher. And I believe it was like GM2, which is insane that new accounts are still able to get ranked so much higher than your main account does. And one prime reason for this, again, I touched on it a little bit before, but this is a really big issue with this season, is a lot of people, when they lose a game, they're losing way more percent than they're gaining. And I luckily haven't had an issue where I've had a huge percent loss, and I've actually had the opportunity this past week where I was able to rank up from, I believe, Plat 4 to Plat 2 on DPS, where I'm getting back to my peak rank and hoping to make a push for mid to high diamond and potentially even masters this season. But through this experience, it's even become very apparent that having a 50% win rate is not enough to climb this season with the way everything is currently structured. I'm not sure exactly who it was. I believe it's Fitzy here, who is also another Overwatch 2 content creator. Don't hold me to it. There was somebody who was champion 5, I believe I heard the story was, and they had lost a comp game and they lost 141% from one loss, and they went from champion 5 to GM2. Could you imagine losing 140% from one loss in an Overwatch game, especially if you're not on a loss streak? But if you have a singular loss in between a few wins and maybe a few losses, nothing enough to really make you move that much. Like, that is absolutely insane. Personally, I duo with my girlfriend sometimes, or honestly, I duo with my girlfriend quite a lot in Overwatch. And she was mid-plat last season. She played with primarily just us. She got ranked high gold this season, in which she has been a little volatile with her rank because she's been playing solo some and trying to practice some. And she had one game where she lost 68% from a loss. Now, she did have some lose streaks going on, and like I said, she has been very volatile. But then there are times that she'll win a game and she'll get like 3% gained, 6% gained, 9% gained. And it makes it very hard to come back from losses, especially if you have a loss streak that's, say 4 games long. You have to win probably 10 games just to make up for what you lost and potentially get a little bit higher than where you were before you started your loss streak. So this means for casuals out there who don't have 20 hours a week to sit down and play Overwatch, or 10 hours a week to sit down and play Overwatch, you're really gonna struggle to climb if you have like a 50% win rate, because what happens, or at least what seems like it happens, is the average that a rank will fluctuate is about 20%. So if you go win-loss, 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 at least what I've seen so far, it seems like it's always right around a 20% gain or loss without having an extreme win streak or an extreme loss streak. So it'll be like 19% won, 22% lost, 20% won, 23% lost. And if that's what you keep doing, you're pretty much only relying on the modifiers that it gives you if you were expected to lose and you won, or if you were expected to lose and you lost, maybe not taking away as much percent or gaining a little bit more percent when you win. And essentially where this leaves you is maybe every 2 games you're really only gaining anywhere from 3 to 10% on the high side, unless you're getting a ton of modifiers added at the end of your game whenever you're seeing your rank, which ultimately makes it really hard to climb, because theoretically if you have a 50% win rate and you're only gaining 5% every 2 games, you need 40 games to get 100% of a rank completed, which this obviously equals out to be a lot of hours that somebody has to spend in order to climb just one tier of a rank. So the only way you're really gonna see a substantial growth in your rank over time is if you go on consecutive win streaks. And I'm not saying you need to win 10 games in a row every 3 games you lost. Obviously that would be great if you could do that, but really what we're talking about here is you need to win 2 or 3 games to every 1 loss. Now, it doesn't have to be in that exact order, and it's okay if you lose a couple games in a row, but just know that, for every few games that you lose in a row, at some point in the season, you're gonna have to win a few games in a row. And really, with this theory, you're probably gonna need above a 60% win rate, depending on how the wins come in order and what your win streaks are, to really climb very much at all this season. And that's on the low side of climbing, in my opinion. I'm sure there will be some situations, and it's very unfortunate, and I hope it doesn't happen to a lot of people, but if you get to the point where you're losing 40, 50, 60% whenever you lose a game, chances are the next couple games you play, you're probably not really going to gain much percentage at all. So say you play a game, you lose 60%, it might take you 3 whole games to get that 60% back. I think at the end of the day, what my true opinion is I think Blizzard over tweaked Overwatch a little bit. I understand pulling people down to some extent, but at the same time, it makes it very difficult, and it is pretty tilting as a person who might have been, 4 tiers higher than what they are last season, And this season, they're not where they wanted to be, and they put in a lot of hours. Now, granted, like I said, everybody's in the same situation. There are some people who have been able to climb a little bit easier than others based off of win streaks and not losing as much. But it is very difficult as somebody who really enjoys Overwatch. I think the current rank system is a little overtuned, and I think they need to take it back maybe a notch. I'm not saying it needs to be super easy to rank up. I enjoy the competitiveness. I enjoy the challenge and making it a little difficult to rank up. I don't necessarily agree with the fact of in certain scenarios, and everybody's a unique situation, but in some scenarios, like a 60% win rate really probably won't even net you a higher rank depending on how those wins and the order of the wins came. And that makes it really difficult. I think if you're at a 65% win rate and at the end of the season you end up the same rank you started, or potentially maybe just one rank above, that makes for a really difficult situation, because say maybe you went on a really bad loss streak and you went on a really good win streak, and then you're just kind of stuck. I also think at the end of the day, as a lot of people know, there's always things as Overwatch players that we can do better. No matter what lobby you're in, no matter you win or lose, there's things that you can always likely do better, especially no matter your rank as well. But we're still always reliant on our team so much. And my call to Blizzard is you really need to find a way to give us a rank increase or decrease based off of our performance. And I know that they have come out and said, hey, it's really difficult to do this because Overwatch isn't necessarily a metric central game where kills means you're supposed to win and one person on your team has a bunch of kills and another person doesn't. I think they need to make a test environment offline that they can maybe pull a bunch of content creators and a bunch of former professional players or people who play in tournaments and be like, hey, we want to test this rank system offline that is going to look at individual statistics as well. And maybe the metrics we do look at do include like kills and stuff, but I think they would have to be role specific. And I really hope somebody from Blizzard sees this. I know I'm really small, but you guys need to find something. Say DPS, these are the specific metrics and statistics we look at. For support, this is the specific statistics we look at. And maybe you go and look at the game and say, hey, a support has really low healing this game, but the other team barely has any damage, so they must have rolled this team. So this support still played at least where they needed to be, if not better. Say one game you have a DPS that maybe didn't have a ton of eliminations or kills, but say they were playing Sombra and they had some really key EMPs and hacks that negated a lot of ultimates and effects that another team would have. So then you would say, okay, this person played in line or better than what their rank was. Or say you have somebody on the team that has less than 10 eliminations in an extremely high kill long game, and they have no time on the payload and they're not doing anything and their team lost. Well, you can say, obviously this person had a bad game, but they did not play in line with the rank that they were supposed to, and they should lose a little bit extra percent than what the normal percentage loss would be based off of just losing the game. And with Blizzard being such the large corporation they are, I know they had recent layoffs, and I hope everybody who was laid off is doing well. But with all the money they make from all the games they have and the rising future and current state of AI and, prediction models and modeling in general, you think at this point a company this large can sit down and make some sort of basic artificial intelligence based off of a model that was created by somebody in their company and look at specific key points, give the AI the ability to have the options to learn on its own and see what key points makes a difference in a game, and kind of develop that over time, use a test bench, and then eventually launch that out to the community so that we can actually officially have something affect our rank other than just a win or a loss, because there are games where once again people are in ranks that they shouldn't be, and if somebody drops 60 kills on a team and you have 20k damage but your other DPS has 5k damage and your tank is 6 and 20, like obviously that's a situation where you couldn't make a big enough impact to win no matter how hard you tried, because your team just wasn't fit to win that. And having those individual statistical changes in modeling techniques and the implementation of AI would give people the ability to really actually see the impact of their gameplay as well as the win or the loss, which would really help a lot of people, I think. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. If you guys are new, please make sure you subscribe and drop a like if you enjoy the content. Also, leave a comment and let me know what you think about this stuff. Let me know if you think that I'm onto something here. Let me know if you like the new season or not, and things of that nature. Also, think about joining the Discord. I'll put in the description. That's where I post when I'm going live and have conversations with everybody, as well as I would love to start trying to plan some custom games again. And think about tuning into my streams. I stream on both Twitch and YouTube, so hopefully we'll see some new faces there. But once again, thank you all. I appreciate it, and we'll see you later.